Well, another entertaining game that goes down as a discombobulated mess of a baseball pass at the end of the game. We'll talk about everything that happened in this Purdue game. Was it good? Was it bad? I don't take any moral victories. Let's get into it.
Pretty simple. I win.
For three on the way.
Nobody knows the trouble we've seen. Nobody knows our sorrow. Hillbilly Monkey, moral victory. I don't take moral victories. Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this Indiana Hoosiers community and sticking it out. It's tough right now being an IU fan. I don't take any moral victories of this game, but I will say this. I think basketball is supposed to be entertainment, and that was an entertaining game to watch. One other thing we'll talk about in this episode is Indiana guys. You know, Indiana guys understand the Indiana stuff that we want them to. Many fans, people from the outside yell at our fans, oh, that doesn't mean anything. Well, we saw in this game tonight, being an Indiana guy does mean something, because who was on the floor? All the Indiana guys, really. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Taco and Baco a little bit. Oh, you rang? No, you are not needed right now. So go away. We'll talk to you later. We'll talk a little bit about Taco and Baco. And he hit those free throws when they were chanting Taco Bell at the end line. And yeah, all those Purdue fans, what a bunch of nerds. Sorry.
Nerds!
Sorry to you if you're a Purdue fan and you're watching this, but come on. That's just the way it always going to be. You know, we got 5 national championships. We have a beautiful campus. We have super cool people that are involved at Indiana, and they're just nerds. They're just nerds. That's all they are. So, Hillbilly Monkey. So first, hit that subscribe button down below if this is your first time here at Indiana Sports Connection. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to talk about the game, and also hit that thumbs up button. Let's pump this video out to the Hoosier fans across the nation and across the globe. Hoosier fans getting into the channel everywhere. We have and leave your comments down below. What did you think of the game? What were their highlights? Because I'm sure everybody's got different takes, and there are so many great comments about things that happened during the game where you're like, oh, yeah, I totally overlooked that. So leave your comments down below. And the channel is brought to you by BetUS. Use my promo code Indiana125 to save 125% on your first 3 deposits, and 10% of the AdSense revenue on this channel goes to T2T.org. Without the veterans, we are nothing. And we have some giveaways coming up. 2,300 subscribers. The next 100, we'll be giving away a shirt from Rally House. If you go to Rally House, they have got some great apparel there right now. I just got this there yesterday, and super cool. I don't know who makes this, but well, you've hit the subscribe button, you hit that thumbs up button, you did all that good stuff. Without further ado, let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. Alrighty then, Hillbilly Monkey. So this game, it was entertaining, and it was back and forth, and Indiana took real command of this game and played tough from the beginning. And first, let's talk about the defense, because the defense limited their 3-pointers. If we just look down the stats of Purdue, Purdue ends up 2 of 13, 15% in the game on threes. I thought Indiana did a great job running guys off the 3-point line. They gave, like, Cam Heide took a couple of threes. I don't think he's one of their best players, but to limit Lawyer, he was like a ghost in this game until they really needed him down the stretch. And that's what we're going to talk about later, is like down the stretch, they made winning plays along with Lawyer, guys that were not playing well in this game. That's how Purdue ended up getting it done in the end. So that limitation and winning the 3-point battle. I mean, Indiana, we've said this all year. It's like if Indiana can win the 3-point battle, it goes a long ways. Now, where they lost at the free throw line and turnovers, 20 turnovers on the road. And then at the free throw line for Indiana's 9 of 16 on free throws, and they are 21 of 28. So Purdue got to the line a lot more. Indiana took the gas out of their tank right at the beginning of that game. And you could really tell, like, Braden Smith turned the ball over a lot for them early on. He scored 14 in the first half, and I agree with Robbie Hummel. It was a quiet 14. I didn't feel like his more where I see his motor being better is not scoring, and he scores really well in the mid-range game. It's facilitating. It's getting the guys open shots, and it was like he was not able to get downhill and kind of get those kickouts to Lawyer from the beginning. He just kind of struggled, and that limited guys at the 3-point line. It was much better in that regard, but still a loss. And there were still some areas where, there were still a couple of times where M'Baku got driven. They were trying to really switch, because Anthony Leal was playing really great defense on Braden Smith. He got that second foul, and you could tell he was gunning for that. I mean, he was pointing over to the bench. Leo was, I got 2 on him now. I got 2 on him. I like to see that. I like to see guys like taking the challenge of the game to it, like take it amongst themselves within a team game to be like, this is what I got to do. So, but what about all the IU guys? The best team that was on the floor was Galloway, Leal, and Goody. All guys that grew up in Indiana. And then Ballo and M'Baku, that was like by far our best lineup. Ballo, we out-rebounded Purdue in this game. That was another part where early on, that's where Indiana was getting it done. On the offensive glass, we were getting rebounds and putbacks and really kind of taking it to a Purdue and a point where I think one time I saw Braden Smith just kind of standing back, kind of watching the action. And I thought, yeah, that's what happens when you're super aggressive, okay? When you come out, and I'll tell you, M'Baku is the guy who, we're going to talk about him next, because M'Baku is the guy who can really stir everything up when he's hitting from the outside, when he's driving, when he's aggressive, when he's rebounding, when he's able to do all these things. Oh, you rang? Aww. Right? That's why it's so frustrating. And that was clutch. It was like 72-70. They're chanting Taco M'Baku, because, things happen in this world and you just get stuck with something. I don't know if this guy, what this has become his like moniker, He plays a game like this. People won't call you Taco M'Baku if you show up and you play like hard like this. That spin move, it was like he was putting people in the washing machine and going to that spin move down low, but it's like it had a different intensity to it. There are many times I see M'Baku like driving to the basket and I think, man, like just dunk it on that guy. Or many times he gets kind of like out of position when he's driving and he'll get his shot blocked. And you look at the guy, he's like 6'9", 6'8", 6'9". His game today was really a breath of fresh air to see him. And it wasn't just the 3-point shooting. He was struggling again in this game from the 3-point line. I think he was like 2 of 6 at one point. So, I mean, anytime you miss like a few shots in a row, you can hang your head, or you can go in there, get your ass out there, get a rebound, get a putback, get to the free throw line, and stop your whining, okay? Like, that's all there is to it. But let's talk about the play at the end of the game, because Mike Woodson, this was a little bit baffling. Rice gets the ball after that, which I did not think that was a good shot for Purdue. I mean, that hook shot, they were lucky that went in. I think he was too far away from the basket to shoot that right there. Yes, it went in. I know they were trying to get him isolated down there on that play. I mean, that's kind of what it looked like. And then early in the second half, they were trying to get him isolated on Ballo and get another foul on Ballo there. But I just did not think that was a great shot for Purdue right there. And then Rice gets the ball out of bounds. And then Mike Woodson, this is what he had to say in the press conference afterwards, and then we'll talk about it. Hillbilly Monkey, roll that clip.
What did you want on that possession where Miles Rice drove?
Well, once he took off, I couldn't get to him. I mean, it was too late. Official had went by, and again, that's just, we got to connect better. That's just the bottom line, and because our high pick and roll stuff was going well for us with the ball in Gallo's hand, and we just couldn't get back to it.
Yeah, and if you check out on that clip, the side eye from Galloway, because if you ever I rewatched the game, it's like on that last play, I mean, Galloway is like running behind Miles Rice, almost like he was on the other side of the court and he tried to like cut over here, and you could just tell he wanted the ball, and the ball should have been in Galloway's hands right there. And as a coach right there, in late game situations, things like that. You called a timeout previous. You got to talk about what scenarios are going to line up and say, look, if they make a shot and they go ahead, I want a timeout right there. If they make a shot and they go ahead, like, I want the ball in Galloway's hands. I want him handling the ball coming downhill, because he is the guy who was making plays. Galloway was getting into the lane whenever he wanted to in this game, and this was just like a classic Galloway game where he got physical with guys, was able to just use his arm, kind of like power himself in there, but not get a foul called, and then get his floater in or get the ball to Ballo. And they were doing that. And Miles Rice only played 5 minutes in the second half. So you knew you did not want Rice in there. He's cold. He's ice cold. He needs to realize this as a point guard too. There's some things about this guy. I think he's a little bit immature. Some of the things, I don't blame Mike Woodson, but he needs to convey his overall, this is what we need to do. And they should be working on that in practice. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But you should be setting aside a lot of time and talking about what are you going to do in the last minute of a game, whether there's 20 seconds on the clock, 10 seconds on the clock, when you get the ball, like, what you need to connect better. That's all there is to it. It's not about connecting better. It's about communicating better. You need to tell the guy, this is what I want from you. And if you don't do that, like in this game, if you're going to like go against what I say, and I've heard several people, I don't want to like throw this guy on the bus, but I've heard, there was a quote from Dockage that a coach at Indiana said, like, this guy doesn't want to listen. He just kind of wants to do things his own way. That doesn't work. Doesn't matter how much talent you have. If you have a team and a coach or anything playing one way, and you have one guy out here that's not listening to the coaching or different things like that, then you are going to have a big problem. And I think there's a problem there with Miles Rice, because we saw it in the Maryland game, and then we saw it in this game again. And look, I don't care whether or not Woodson wanted to take a timeout there or whatever. You just got to communicate that to the players. If they make a shot here, we're calling a timeout. Go to half court and call a timeout. You see that all the time in a college game. Now, was that the play? But there was confusion again, because Mike Woodson said right there in that quote, there was confusion. He might not think there was confusion, but there was confusion in the communication. And Miles Rice went down, took that bad contested shot. It looked like a foul. It didn't even look like a shot. But you know what? They didn't make that call right there. And it seemed like it came down to that. But Indiana had a lot of opportunities in this game. And there's a couple other numbers. I mean, Indiana's turnovers, there were 8 of the turnovers. Like in the first half, 3 turnovers came in 38 seconds. And they said that stat on assembly call. I was watching that this morning. And then 5 turnovers in the last 5 minutes of the game. That is a killer. I mean, that is like, it seemed like Indiana, they were sticking in there. They took a lot of punches from Purdue and they were sticking in there. But boy, you got to late game scenarios. They got to be more connected, and that comes from experience, and this team doesn't have a lot of experience playing close games against good teams, and that is very, very evident. Hillbilly Monkey, what did you think about the IU guys and everything like that? What did you think about the game?
Carved from the sands of the Wabash River and formed into a monkey lamp that's sold at Home Goods, it's the Hillbilly Monkey Perspective on Indiana Sports Connection.
Well, I'll tell you, all these old timers, the reason why we want Indiana guys, and this is just obvious to everybody, but we want Indiana guys because they understand the Indiana culture and they understand the rivalries and they understand all that shit. And by the time, you can see Leo, Goody, Galloway, these guys, it matters so much to them. Yeah, Ballo and Baco, they're kind of in there the first time on this rivalry, and Baco's been there before, but you just look at that, it wears off on everybody, wants to play hard, and when you can see you got guys on the team that it means this much to, that's why we want Indiana guys playing for this Indiana program. We're not crazy. We understand there is a deeper meaning, and when you play basketball with that deeper meaning, then you can get over the hump. Isn't that right?
Well, I never thought of it that way, but we do. I think like there's a deep reason why we do want Indiana players playing for Indiana. And it's not because we're crazy. It's not because we're stupid. It's because we know basketball. And we know to get to the next level, to win like national championships, it has to mean everything to you. It really does. Yeah, and the guys like me and you and all the people that grew up in Indiana, that watch this channel, that love Indiana basketball, the guys who really grew up with it, understand it in a way that the people that just aren't from Indiana just don't understand it that way. Like, they don't understand the Purdue-IU rivalry. They don't understand like the basketball love in the state of Indiana. And we need IU guys on the team to convey that message to the other guys, like Balo, to that, everything. I know people thought, oh, bringing an IU guy in is going to do that. No, like, you need a culture of this. You can see there is a little bit of that, like, within those IU guys. They care. They care just a little bit more than some of the other guys because they grew up with it, right? It takes on a little bit more meaning when you grow up around it. You know, it's just that much more important to you. That's all I have for you today. It was a fun game to watch. Disappointing in the end. I kept thinking, like, let's show these nerds, these Purdue nerds. Sorry if you're watching this and you're a Purdue fan, but it's like, let's show these nerds that even though, yeah, we've had some sucky teams in the past 10 years, you know, we can still show up with some guys and beat you on your home court. That would have been fun to see. That would have been fun to see this Indiana team beat them at Mackey Arena. It was close, but no cigar. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.
Guys will run till you can't eat supper. Now I'm tired of this shit. I'm sick and fucking tired of an 8-10 record. I'm fucking tired of losing to Purdue. I'm not here to fuck around this week. Now you may be, but I'm not. No, I'm not. Now I'm gonna fucking guarantee you that if we don't play up there Monday night, you aren't gonna believe the next 4 fucking days.